Hey everybody, welcome back to Signals AZ. Today we are spotlighting you. So we've got Brian and we've got Lisa, and you guys are from Freedom Rock. Tell me, what is Freedom Rock?
Well, I think the best way to describe it is it's a project that honors veterans. And by the way it honors veterans is that it started in Iowa. Lisa and I are the two people with actual Iowa roots on the committee. So we're probably more familiar with the original. Um, we are the artist is on a venture to honor veterans in all 50 states. He's done 100 of these rocks in Iowa, and they're painted with local history of veterans. And Lisa will tell us the story pretty soon about how that all started. But it is something that after he finished Iowa, he started doing some other things with states or in the Midwest. And somebody suggested that he should do a 50 state tour. So my wife and I moved here about a year and a half ago. And one of the first things we did, we moved in late September. And on November 11, we went to the Veterans Parade in Prescott. And we got in the car afterwards and looked at each other and said, this area needs a Freedom Rock
Absolutely.
because of its honor of veterans, its respect for veterans. And I had a friend in Iowa who was a Vietnam veteran. And in the latter part of his life, the Freedom Rocks became very important to him. And they went on a tour, he and his wife, and saw all 100 of them in Iowa, took pictures, had photo books made of it, and he very much treasured those to the end of his life. So that's kind of how we got familiar with it. And as my wife and I talked, we decided we had purchased a home in Prescott Valley, so we wanted to talk to Prescott Valley first. There are a lot of areas around here that could have a Freedom Rock, but we decided that our new home was Prescott Valley, so we would offer it. So now the Freedom Rock we have here is the very first one in Arizona, and it has
Very fitting.
Arizona history on it. And I believe we're around the 11th state to get one.
Wow.
So
how big are these rocks?
this particular one is just a little over 8 feet tall, and it's 38,000 pounds.
Wow.
So
Okay. I wasn't thinking they were that's a rock. That's a
that
boulder.
is, yes. We had a crane company come. D&O Crane Company was just very, very generous with us, but it required their largest crane to set it in place.
Wow.
So
How do you choose the rock?
that was an adventure. We started looking around, and everything that the contractors and so work with, they try to get like 6 foot by 6 foot or less so they can handle them.
Right.
And we got in touch with a contractor that was doing a project in Prescott. And so he knew what we were looking for. And one day he called me and said, we have one you might be interested in. So we went down and looked, and we actually looked at 2 or 3 of them that were oversized from what they like. And we came across this one, and it has really been ideal it had 3 faces to paint. And then there was a really jagged edge on the 4th side, and that's where the flag drapes down over, and it's just amazing. So, like I always say, we looked at a few hundred rocks in the process, and we feel like when the artist came, he said, it's a gift from God. So,
Can't argue with that, huh?
no.
Yep. So the first one is in your home and out in front of your home, or the first one in Arizona.
Is in Prescott Valley, at the Civic Center.
Okay,
Yes.
I misunderstood because I was thinking, oh, it's at your okay.
No,
So
it's
we can go right down to the Civic
Mhm.
Center
yep.
and take a look at it.
It's between the Civic Center, town office building, and the police department. And it is closer to the town office building, but you'll see it. It's right along the parking lot there where the mailboxes are, and it's out there for everybody to see. It's incredible.
And what is the purpose of the rock? To honor and to
Yep. So the artist, his name is Ray Bubba Sorensen. So we got to know him
Bubba.
really well. We call him Bubba. His purpose was to promote tourism in the area because, as Brian mentioned earlier, people follow all of the 100 in Iowa, and now they're going to all the states. So it's a great tourism draw. And then second, he wanted to honor and thank veterans. And his story originates from him being 19 years old, watching Saving Private Ryan.
Oh.
And that movie moved him so much that he knew that there was this big, huge boulder out by a quarry by Greenfield, Iowa. And it was always graffitied. Young people would always, just graffiti it, of course. And he thought that could be my canvas. I could go out and paint veterans, pictures, a memorial to veterans. And I grew up by that rock. And I remember even as a teenager, when we'd be done detasseling corn, we would go jump in the quarry, cool off, and I would see that graffiti and thought, gosh, that's too bad that's happening. Later in life, I came home from college and my parents said, you got to go see the rock.
Wow.
And I'm like, oh, what's happening? And she goes, this Bubba Sorensen is now painting it every May to depict different veteran stories, even local stories, which is another whole thing about the Iowa Rocks. And I drove out there and I was just, you get teary-eyed. It's really a special rock, and it's huge, like the one we have here. What's really special about the original rock, over 170 veterans' ashes are in the paint on that rock.
Wow.
And he does not paint over. They're in a helicopter, and he never takes the helicopter off of the rock. Every year he gets them sent to him in little different type ornate boxes, and they usually come with a story. Like one Vietnam veteran that had passed, he had cancer from Agent Orange. The parents and the families, the kids, they all write a story when they send those ashes. We do have some ashes on the rock here in Prescott Valley. And the way that those ashes started in Iowa, a large biker group happened to stop by when Bubba was painting, and they asked if they could sprinkle some ashes of their buddies around the rock. And Bubba's like, oh, this is windy Iowa. They're going to blow away. So he said, I will put them in the paint. And
That's awesome.
and he just every year now, when he repaints that with different pictures, that is the only one he repaints every year, but he always adds the ashes.
Isn't that amazing how things come about? Those
Yes.
guys driving by and riding by, I guess.
Yeah.
So you guys are invited to go to 100 Men Who Care,
Yes.
and great organization where they find, people that are nonprofits and are just looking for a little bit of help or, able to help carry on the mission. Why do you guys think you were chosen to be part of that?
I think that partly it isn't anything about us. It has to do with the veterans.
Mhm.
And I believe that one of the things that we've seen is that the community has just really stepped up to support us, because this is a funded project by the community. There is not the land it's on belongs to the town of Prescott Valley, but everything else is funded by people who care about veterans or are veterans. And we have been so blessed in that the funds have come in as we need them. We have never been way short or way long on funding, but there's a lot of dollars that go into it. And there also has been a lot of community support as far as, like I mentioned, with the crane work. And this contractor donated this 38,000 pound rock, which is typically around a $4,000 rock. And we've had contractors that came and removed concrete, and new contractors that came and poured concrete. And for the most part, they have donated their labor. And we had concrete donated by CEMEX and that sort of thing. So it's just been a very refreshing for us to see the community get excited with us, because we started out with 5 people, and Lisa and I were the ones who kind of knew what a Freedom Rock was. And just to see it expand and explode, and we have people now that follow us, and we have people that come out there. We're out there on Wednesdays for people to come and see the rock, and also if they're interested in buying the veteran bricks or the community bricks, that so it's been a really positive experience.
And can I add
Of
too,
course.
with America's 250th birthday this year,
I've been hearing about this.
this is a big deal.
People have been talking about it.
with the Liberty Bell that just came and all the cool things that are happening in all the communities across America. I am just excited that we got chosen to be one of the 3 for the 100 Men Who Care. Sounds like the other 2 also are patriotic. So this is like this, you couldn't have timed this any better.
That's right.
So
Absolutely.
it's just perfect.
Yeah.
So what is your goal for, do we want more rocks in Prescott Valley and Prescott, Arizona? What's the plan?
Well, in Iowa, there's one in every county, and they all have local history on them. And people go around, and I believe it's called a passport, where they can go and check off the ones they have seen. And it's just an interesting thing. And we would love to see some of the areas around. I would add that it says right on the rock by the painter, this is the first one in Arizona. So nobody else can get that. But to have 4 or 5 of them in the area would be awesome, because people could go from one to the other and see that happen. So
Yeah, because like Tucson, I mean, there's so much history down there with veterans. Phoenix, maybe one over at the VA in Prescott, Flagstaff. And you know, he's one person, and he has 3 kids and a wife, and he's also an Iowa representative. So he is a busy
He's
person.
a busy guy.
But when we mentioned the VA over in Prescott, he's like, "Yep, have him call me."
That's awesome. That's so good. How long does it typically take for him to paint one of the rocks?
he was here for 10 days. He painted about 9 days, because he came in late on the first day and put a sealer on it in the dark. And the thing that you don't think about is there's so much shading and all that. So he had to kind of keep working his way around the rock to let the other side dry so it was a process. And then of course people interrupt you because it's out.
What are you
it's
doing?
out in public. Yeah.
What's going on?
Yes.
Yep.
Everybody wants to know what's
So,
happening.
Yes. And it was very fascinating. There's a flag draped over the top, and it's remarkable. And it is so many different shades and shadows and that sort of thing. It just was remarkable to watch his progress on that. And then at the last day, he took about a half a day to kind of check everything over, do any little touch-ups that he felt. He says, I could be here 3 months. He said, I could just keep touching up.
Yeah.
And then he got on a plane and went home and celebrated Halloween with his kids.
Good.
So that's
good.
one reason he wanted to get home.
That's awesome.
So
So 100 Men Who Care, but I'm sure you need help in other ways, or possible if people want to get involved or make a donation or anything, how would they get a hold of you?
Yes, great question. So a year ago when we jumped on this committee, that was our first goal. It's like, how do we raise funds for this? Because it does take money. We are selling veterans bricks where you could honor a special veteran in your life. Those are $100 for a 4x4 red brick. And then we also sell corporate / business / family
Okay.
bricks, and those go for $250. And we have had such great response from families, businesses. We've really been impressed with all the generosity. And then we also take donations. So when Brian mentioned that on Wednesdays from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. that we're always at the Rock, giving tours and sharing why these veterans got picked for the Rock, why Bubba painted them. We are just been so impressed. People stop by, they're buying bricks, they're giving donations. They get a little gift from us. It's a vinyl they can put on the back of their car that talks about Arizona's first Freedom Rock. So those are ways people could get involved and just share. Like, we love when people share it with their neighbors, their friends, share it with everybody, because it is cool that we are the
Mhm.
first in Arizona.
So Wednesdays from 10 to 1, you're at the Civic Center. I love that you love the story so much that you're out there every week sharing it with people. You have a Facebook page.
Yes, our Facebook page is Freedom Rock - Prescott Valley.
Okay.
Yesterday we hit 152 followers, so we're
Excellent.
excited. And then we have an email address. It is freedomrockpv@gmail.com. And all 5 of us on the committee watch that like a hawk. So every day we'll get back to people probably within 5 minutes.
You're awesome. That's perfect. Anything else you want to add before I scoot you guys out of here?
The only one other interesting story we had was that we sent a list of things for Bubba, our painter, to review, and Arizona history. So he chose maybe half of that list, and one of the things was the USS Arizona, which is at the bottom of Pearl Harbor. Well, one day a gentleman who was on a now the word's going to escape me, the submarines.
Submarine.
He was a submariner,
Mhm.
and he came by and he said, they're making a new USS Arizona submarine in 2027.
Mhm.
And Bubba went back to his hotel room that night and did some research. And the next day he started adding the future submarine. And so they're right together, and he put the USS Arizona's. And so we look at it as the past and the future for the naval vessels for the Arizona.
Well, I'm looking at the Rock, some pictures of it. Of course, you have Pat Tillman on there.
Yes.
I think that was perfect.
Mhm.
I looked because I was like, it would have been wrong not to. I would
Mhm.
think, just
Mhm.
because knowing as little as I do sometimes about certain things, I know that should be mentioned. And then the Navajo code talkers.
Oh, yes.
Yes.
So smart, like perfect.
Yeah,
Perfect.
when we got the sketches back, because he gave us those like few days before he came
Mhm.
out here, we all were ecstatic with the things that he chose. Now,
Yeah.
we wish the Rock could have had more, but you've got to give it
Rock.
attention.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yep.
You just don't want it to be, it must be very intentional.
Yeah.
So excellent job. And you even have a Lori Ann. That's awesome.
Yes.
Hopi warrior soldier. Perfect for our region too, to
Yes.
pay some homage to those folks. So thank you guys for everything that you do. I'm glad you came in, because I didn't know,
Mhm.
I heard of Freedom Rock and I was like, it must be a concert, must be something they got going on. I had no idea, like, just the detail and what this, and then of course I'd heard, it's something to do with the Rock, but it's right across the street.
Yeah.
Yep.
I could go there anytime. So
Anytime. Yep.
I will make the time to go and see this. I love the shading, the detail, the people that were chosen to be. It's perfect. So continue to do what you guys are doing. Guys, get out to the Rock. You can go see it anytime, but what a treat to be out there from Wednesdays 10 to 1, so you can really hear some of the history and why you guys do what you do.
And if I could share one more thing,
Of course.
this has been the touching part of being on this committee with all of our great folks. The veterans who stop by and share their stories. My dad served in Vietnam. My father-in-law was World War II Navy. I am just I am blown away by these stories, and it's hard for Vietnam veterans to share
Mhm.
because what happened to them when they came back, they weren't treated well. But we have had Vietnam veterans there at the same time, and they start talking, and it's just been amazing how it
Some
just
good-
brings
some good
community
therapy for
together
them,
and good
right?
therapy.
Yes.
Mhm.
And as we go through the process, one thing that has really grown into me is that I hope it's for all the generations, that maybe in the future schools can do trips to it and get a history lesson, and the future generations, I hope, will really benefit from the history that's on the rock.
That would
too.
be a great little walking tour
Mhm.
for
Yes.
the Liberty Traditionals right down the road.
Yes.
That would be great
Yes.
for them to
Mhm.
Yep.
show. And
Yep, and the high school right across the
Mhm.
street.
Yep.
Mhm.
And we're going to do some, hopefully, with the funding and everything, we'll be able to do some plaques that, give some of the history lessons, but we're also hoping to put some signs up with QR codes
Mhm.
so that the younger generation who
Mhm.
doesn't want to stop and read
Mhm.
can pull up a QR code and get the same
Mhm.
history.
That's awesome.
And we also want to share that our ribbon cutting ceremony will be June 27th in the morning. We'll have that more details coming. And we hope to invite all the people that have been so generous to us, corporate sponsors, whoever wants to come, and we'll have food trucks. It's going to be, I think that's going to be an amazing day, and all the veterans who want to come, because we've had a lot of veterans' wives who have ordered bricks without telling their husbands. And
Oh.
that's just going to be, I did a brick for my father-in-law, my father. It's going to be neat.
Are the bricks there by the on the side of by where the rock is, or
You wanna-
If you turn that over,
I feel like I gave it to you, lady?
the bricks will be the
Ah.
floor around the rock,
Mhm.
and the larger bricks that we consider to be business bricks, family bricks, that don't necessarily contain veterans' names and their information, those will be around the outside, and we kind of say that that's the community surrounding the veterans.
I love that.
So
Well, I want you to send this to me so that we can
Mm-hmm.
provide a link so everybody can see the picture of it. It won't do it justice. You guys are going to need to go down and see the rock. Thank you for doing what you're doing. Good luck at 100 Men Who Care. I know those fellas take care of everybody, and they do such a good job. And what a worthy organization. So
we really appreciate the opportunity.
Yep. Thank you very much.
you're welcome. Thank you. We'll see you next time.